Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel. We are back to watch the season finale, maybe series finale of Miss Marvel. Overall, I have really been enjoying this show, particularly a lot of the family elements and culture elements that I may not have known a ton about. It's been really interesting just kind of getting that information and really diving into things I am not familiar with. And I just really enjoy Kamala's family. They're super fun. The coming of age aspect of the show as well has been really fun. The only aspect that I haven't enjoyed as much is like the main conflict, like the clandestines and kind of their whole storyline. I'm not really a big fan of. I've really enjoyed the first two episodes. They're fantastic. And then the last couple have had really strong moments and really weak moments, particularly again involving the clandestines, like last episode. The first half of last episode I think was excellent, stellar. All the stuff about the partition, learning about Aisha and her background and her storyline, I thought that was all great. I honestly wish there would have been a lot more of that. But then once we got back into present day, dealing with the clandestines and all their stuff, severely took a dive down in quality, and it felt very rushed. This show, to an extent, feels like they had like an 8 or 9 episode season, and they had to cram it into 6 episodes at the last minute, which, again, I've spoken on this many times already, but I hate the 6 episode format that Disney Plus is doing. It's very frustrating because it often feels like pretty much every show they make starts off strong and then feels very rushed towards the end as they try and wrap up this conflict. But I'm hoping that Miss Marvel sticks the landing and ends in a strong fashion, and I'm very excited to jump into the finale. So before we do that, if you enjoy my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a ton to me. If you're new here, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when I upload, especially if you want to see me react to other Marvel content. I previously reacted to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness on the channel. I'm planning on watching Thor: Love and Thunder when it comes on Disney Plus as well. So if you're interested in those, stick around. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon. That is linked in the description below. But otherwise, let's jump into the season finale of Miss Marvel.
This is what happens when the wrong people get powers.
Excuse me?
Kids, Agent Barry, we need to lock the city down and get them in now before anyone else gets hurt.
Probably the intro to the Young Avengers. DOD going against kids.
It wasn't easy when Kamala first got her powers either.
What would she do?
Well, she's Kamala, so she's stress 80 euro.
Facts.
Damage control. They're coming, come on.
Stop right there!
Damage control.
Sorry.
Watch where you're going.
Ayo, son. They said sorry. New York. New York in city. Welcome to New York, brother.
Guys, love it.
I don't see my shawl. Where's my shawl?
I haven't enough.
I said, we've got things to see.
I am the light girl.
You're what?
Light.
Oh my god!
Oh, they know. They definitely know. Don't they? Yeah, they super know.
Well, in classic Khan gossip train, you tell Umni, she tells Abu, and we over here because he always has his phone on speaker.
Classic dad mode. Speakerphone, obviously. Yeah, you can't just talk normal. You have to have it on speaker.
Also, I have been dying to ask you, on Eid, did you drop that kid on purpose, or was that like a game time decision?
It was a game time decision. She's like, F that kid in the moment. Split second, she's like, you know what? Don't need to rescue that kid.
I mean, just because you can do all these amazing things
Doesn't mean that you should.
doesn't mean that you actually volunteer to go looking for trouble, right?
Abu, I don't think you raised me to sit by and do nothing when I can help you.
Ooh. Ooh. What a mature response to his concern.
Kamala Khan, you're not going anywhere.
Excuse me, mother, there was an explosion. Oh.
I
Bitchin'.
got something for you.
Bitchin', she made a new uniform. And put it in this box. Toffee box. Your mother. Your grandmother found the other bangle.
This feels a bit
Oh,
more like
sick. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. That looks rad. That cost some money. Who made that? Did she make that? Ooh. Gang, gang. She like Spider-Man. Hey, yo, dude. Love that she's wearing Converse. It adds some personality to her uniform, but also running in Converse is a horrible idea. You're gonna get blisters.
Good afternoon. I'm gonna need to
Hey,
see
yo,
everybody.
again with the shoes.
We are looking for a high-level threat, presumably male, 16 to 25, Pakistani or Arab.
But you're describing practically everyone here.
Everyone in the building. Wow.
Please.
She'll like my cookies.
I don't need anyone on my side. I'm not even concerned if God is on my side, as long as
Ooh.
I am on his side. For God is always right.
Dang straight, son.
Quotes. Excuse me.
Listen, lady, you
Actually,
kind
that
of
was
suck.
Abraham Lincoln.
Haha, savage. You a racist.
You can't go this way. It's
What up?
I know. My mom would kill me if she found out I had a boyfriend and that it was that one.
Did you hear that?
This is probably some rando from the mosque that she asked to help her. That kid got 22 seconds of screen time and he made the best of it.
Wait. You need a disguise.
Nice.
Go.
Thank you.
Classic Marvel disguise, just a hat, but since it's New York, it's flat billed. Should have just put the Yankee logo on it. Look at Spider Monkey. Bruno's like, God dang. Bruno's like, you are so hot right now. Yes. Okay. What are you doing, Chief? Why is your seemingly dead mother calling to you right now? Nice, Bruno. Super coordinated, brother. Yo, they already got the school locked up? They probably tracked your phones, you losers.
They tried to trick me into giving you up.
What the? Why are you here?
What are you doing here? The theater has good lighting. And I owe you for saving my life.
But why are you here? From a story inclusion point, why are you necessary in this conflict? Set up some nail bombs, tripwires.
Yeah, excuse me, hey.
If you got some Ewoks with logs, that would work great.
Sounds good. We'll keep him busy while you run out the back.
My man's, how did you get here?
Shabrirs don't need chaperones.
Take it up with her.
Guys, clock's ticking.
Fine, just don't ruin anything.
What if they just keep adding people as they're planning? More and more people come up. Like, I got this. Where's that kid that stole the shoes? Nice, so nice. There's excellent comedic timing on that one, actually.
Can't grab as many balls as you can.
Those are baseballs.
Any questions?
Those are baseballs. Those aren't softballs.
So we're gonna
Just
stop damage control
pointing
with
that out.
softballs?
No, those are baseballs. Again, baseballs. Those are baseballs.
I don't care if you need another 10 seconds, okay? You're not gonna get it. Evacuate now, Deaver. You hear me?
Deaver? She ain't gonna follow the rules.
Call in all additional units.
But that's
Now.
the opposite of what he said. He said to leave.
Mama saved my life at AdventureCon.
Okay.
I think Kamala should be able to tell the world when she's ready.
Okay, but did you actually know? I feel like you didn't know. You're just trying to be altruistic right now. Ooh, breaching charges. Okay, this is why they said this would be upsetting, because they're literally sieging a school. Is that a bomb? It's just a speaker. Dance party. Okay, what a jerk. That was unnecessary. Okay.
They sent all of you just for me. Nice. Okay, so
They
we gotta
did.
play this live, but I
In
don't know for how long.
fact.
Do it now. Do it now.
Do it now!
Rashid just sent me.
Help us! Team leader, do you read me? Team
Why
leader.
are all these, like, fully adult, grown people getting a notification of a TikTok from a teenage girl? Especially that dude at the gym. I'm loving the vibe of this episode right now. I'm loving this. Ooh, what a solid setup. They're just gonna shoot it down though. Yeah. I am jamming to this song right now, brother. This is top shelf. A1. Chemistry. Oh, goo. That'd be so fun if they actually did that. Oh, wow. When you hold hands, it does weird stuff. I don't like your romance, though. I prefer Bruno. Bruno's the goat. Don't.
Okay, you guys
No.
gotta-
Thank God. Shatter Bruno's heart right now. How dare you. Oh, rip to this kid's soul.
Hey! Ooh, guys, come dance with me. You know you like these moves. Hey, guys, what's going on? You want? Oh,
Just gets immediately gun butt to the face. Okay. Nakia, goat status. She inadvertently took out like 6 of them. Yeah, baseballs. Baseballs, again, not softballs. As they're too small to be softballs.
I need the clandestines. I need my mother.
Joke's on you. All your friends and family are dead.
What happened to my mother?
Oh, that happened. Oi. Dude, you suck at aiming, brother. Ooh.
Gross.
Yeah, kind of gross, yeah. It's toilet water.
My mother's dead. Isn't she?
Oh yeah, super duper. And we're glad for it.
Stop right there!
Jesus Christ. These are some powerful guns. Okay, that's assault. Kamala, you gotta take him out now. Oh, got him. Probably shouldn't have let him do that in the first place, if we're being honest.
Get on your knees. Now.
Come on, man, get down.
On your knees.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do it. Ooh, that's a intimidating shot right there. Bro, you can't tell them to open fire on a child. Jesus. Literal high schoolers. And you're opening fire. Divers, you are awful. Okay. This is like legit upsetting. Especially like this touches on a lot of things in the news, specifically regarding to the treatment of non-white individuals in connection with the police and how these situations are often handled.
I'm Beckett.
Oh, she said the word! She said the word! Cue the Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, pointing. She's like the Hulk. Yes, Kamala. Bust their shiz up. With the big arms. Yeah, goddamn right. Whoa. Yes, Kamala's goated.
Hey guys, you
What's
okay?
poppin'?
Yes, Miss Nightlight.
No, not that.
Yes, Miss Nightlight. Bro, you're opening fire on a child again. Come on, ease up, brother. We don't want to hurt these guys. Granted, they are shooting bullets at you, but still. He's gaining a little control over his powers, a tiny bit. Okay, Kamran. Chief. Yes, Kamala, with your giant ass arms. Yeah, that should be a moment of reflection there, Kamran. Yeah, your daughter's a bad bitch. Listen, Devers, you about to get smoked by your boss right now? Wait, Kamran. Chill out, Chief. You need to ease up there, Tonto. You're gonna open the veil again right now. What are you doing, brother? You almost killed them. Those are spiky crystals. you kind of need to be taken out of the picture right now, Kamran. Maybe not like killed, but like unconscious at minimum. Kamala's creating a pocket dimension, like in What If.
She chose you.
Yeah, but her motivations were flimsy at best, if we remember. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do now? How can I be normal?
You can change.
There is no normal. There's just us and what we do with what we've been given.
Okay, Gandalf. I wish I'd never been here, Kamala. So do all who live to see such times, Kamran. The only question is what to do with the time that we have been given. Wait, is she just making a tunnel, like, underground for him? Well, your relationship was not meant to be anyway. Bruno's the goat, so... Holla. I swear to God, if Devers pulls a gun... Yes, Community is gonna protect her, just like New York protects Spider-Man. Wow, that was a very robotic turn. And the beat cops are on her side too. What a turn of events.
You went against my orders publicly, and then you attacked a bunch of kids using our name, and you know what that means? Yes, that means that you're relieved of your duty. A union's coming to fix your mess. Get out of there, now.
Damn right, son. Yeah, Devers, you punk bitch. No one likes you, you racist piece of crap.
Behind you declared to the world she was my girlfriend.
Thank you. This is your day.
Yo. Goated. You can take those posters down. You're honestly cooler than Captain Marvel. At least you have way more personality. Oh, mirroring that moment previously when she posed in the mirror and she didn't feel comfortable in her own skin / outfit, and now she poses confidently in the mirror. Love it.
You were just so
A marvel, if you will.
That's what Kamal means in Arabic. Perfect. But in Urdu, it's more like
Marvel?
one. Marvel.
Miss Marvel, that's how she gets it.
Marvel.
And Kamala.
Freaking Danvers.
I don't know who that is.
She's like, you shut your damn mouth right now, father. I'll freak it out.
Our own little Miss Marvel.
Yo, I actually love that.
Magic.
Damn straight, son.
Absolute magic.
He's so proud of his daughter. Ooh, yes, give me that. Give me that. On the lamppost. Yeah. Straight from the comics, son. Direct pull from the comics. Love that. It's such a good shot. Ooh. Nice. 1 week later. Excuse me? Why would you say 1 week later?
Okay, so I went back and looked at your genetic makeup again.
No. I know you can
Inhuman?
call me when you're bored.
Mutant? Inhuman? Which one?
So we know why you have
Yeah.
access to the
What
Noir and how you
do you
can wield
mean?
it. But when I compared you to the rest of your family, something still seemed off.
Okay.
Okay.
Kamala, there's something different in your genes. Like a mutation.
Do you hear that? Da-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Oh! Oh! That's the introduction to the mutants, baby. She's a mutant. Whoa. F the Inhumans. Bro, Kamala Khan's a mutant. Oh. Ooh. Chills. Literal chills. I heard there's a mid-credit scene, so sticking around for that. Ooh. You bangle doing things. Is the second one been found and activated? Oh, did you just teleport somewhere? What's up? Oh, what's up, shawty? Hey, Bree. How you doing, girl? God, you are so fine. You're so unbelievably attractive. And you're in a super fan's bedroom right now. So where's Kamala? Is she like in deep space now? How did you like touch the other bangle in wherever you were? I'm muy confusioso. Friggin' balls, man. What a mid-credits. Wow. Okay. This show stuck the landing, and they stuck it expertly, in my opinion. They, like, this final episode crushed it in every sense of the word. I loved it. Way better, in my opinion, than the last two. And that almost reinforces the notion that I think this was supposed to be like the main conflict the whole time, is Kamala, like the coming of age story of her, grappling with her powers and how that affects the community and the relationship with the DoD. But they needed something, a little extra something to mix into that to increase the conflict, and I think they chose the relationship of like the one bad apple type scenario with Kamran, even though he's not a bad apple when it comes down to it. But they introduced him, and I think just the way they blended his family element into that, it just didn't. Like the clandestines felt like an afterthought, like a late addition, so to speak. Or they just didn't have as many episodes as they wanted, and they had to cut out a lot of stuff there. But the conflict in this episode felt so much more in tune with the show and the vibes that they were going for, like the emotional significance of pretty much everything involved. Like, if we're talking about the relationship of like how do you touch on a Pakistani Muslim superhero in Jersey City, like from the outset of how they were marketing the show, of like that's going to be a big factor. Like how do you touch on that and how it affects the community and how people would respond to that? How do you do all that in a realistic way that feels natural and feels compelling? I think you obviously touch on, how it might appear from a government perspective, like the FBI or the CIA, right? Because in real life, that is a situation. Brown people of various cultures are very much not treated the same way as white people are in regards to like the FBI specifically. Pretty much every like mosque in the country is under FBI surveillance in some fashion. And it makes a ton of sense to build that connection within the show when you're talking about like how do you introduce your first Muslim superhero into the MCU. And it worked really well, honestly. I think the tiny downfall is Devers is slightly more, I don't know if she's slightly more realistic than the clandestines in terms of like her motivations, because she's very much just like similar to the clandestines in the fact that she's kind of a little bit of just a tropey like antagonist type person. She's just just kind of villainous to be villainy, if that makes sense. She's the face to the government institution that is just like unnecessarily oppressive in that situation. You know, where we don't necessarily know why she's so aggressive with what she's doing, but I think it didn't really, that part didn't necessarily matter as much. It's because it's not necessarily just supposed to be like the idea of like it's her like as an individual, even though I mean it is her as an individual that's the aggressive part, but I think it's supposed to represent like so much that she's representing the organization. She's representing the arm of the law, if that makes sense. And so that it's very much supposed to touch on the dynamics of law enforcement and the over patrolling, over occupation, over aggressiveness in relation to non-white individuals. Particularly the moments where they're just like opening fire on these two kids in the middle of the street. That was like particularly moving. Like I started to almost feel myself like tear up a little bit where you're like, oh man, like this is some real stuff we're dealing with at the moment. Because it is very much, again, like situation where their guns drawn, like get on your knees, they give him like 10 seconds, and then the lady's like, open fire. It's like, excuse me? like there's a direct order to stand down from your superiors, but like you're just so gung-ho and racist that you would prefer just to gun down this person in the middle of the street. That was particularly moving. And I think yeah, she was very much supposed to represent that the faceless racism that comes inherently with those types of situations, the racial bias that you may not always be aware of. And even her like partner at the beginning kind of called it out, where she was like, this is what happens when the wrong people get superpowers. And the guy's like, the wrong people? Like, what do you mean the wrong people? And she's like, kids. And it's like, did you really mean kids? Or are you just upset because this person's not white? Like earlier in the season when you're interrogating that girl, you're like, is she Hispanic? Is Latinx? Is she brown? Like that's what she's concerned about. So I think as much as it might have been like the fact that he's a kid, it was also very much the fact that it was a brown person that she was upset about. And she's very gung-ho. And I love that they made a point to show that her boss is very much being like, stand down. Like, you're done. You're about to do an assault on a high school in a very culturally not white area. Like, you're about to assault a high school and take on two children. Like, this is a media event now. People are aware of this. Like, you need to stop. And she does it anyway, and then gets a call at the end, and he's just pissed. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, one, the thing you did was awful. Two, directly in violation of what I told you. Like, you're done. You're relieved of duty. You're fired. Love that. And it shows that we can kind of trust him a little bit going forward if he appears in more things, of being like, okay, he's the chill cop. Like, I mean, they even made a point to show that the actual beat cops of the show were like gonna stand in the way of the FBI, which was pretty surprising, not gonna lie. But that scene where everyone was protecting, like, went and stood in the way, very reminiscent of Spider-Man, like Spider-Man 2, various other properties where like the city of New York, in this case Jersey, is like, nah, this is our hero and you're not gonna get in the way. Like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. No, this was very classic storytelling. I loved a lot of it, so much so. Again, love Kamal's family. The moment where she's telling them that she's a hero, and they're like, oh, no way, what? She's like, you already knew? Yeah, because it's blatantly obvious. I love that her mom made her costume. That's great. I love that her dad gives her the name Miss Marvel because her name in Urdu means Miss Marvel. Like, that's goated. Fantastic. I also loved the like Home Alone-esque nature of this episode, where they very much feel like they're just like kids defending, like doing the right thing and defending themselves against an adult-ish presence. Loved that. You know, just the crafty nature of their school situation. Don't know if Zoe needed to be there. They tried to play that off as like, oh, she knew the whole time that Kamala was a hero, and she just wanted to be an ally and let her tell people on her own time. And that felt, the line reading, I don't know, the line reading of that felt weird, especially in connection with her line on the TikTok later where she's like, I'm an ally. It felt very much like they were trying to draw a connection. I mean, it didn't feel very much. It felt just a tiny bit like they were trying to draw some sort of connection with, like, I don't want to say like LGBT issues or something like that, but given the fact that mutants typically in comics, being a mutant was like analogous was kind of an analogy for those types of issues, like civil rights issues and LGBT issues and things like that. It could be a small connection, you know, not necessarily a hint of the mutant nature, but like just another small string of connection in the vast web of connecting things. It just felt, the line reading kind of felt out of place, and I don't know if Zoe needed to be in the school at that point. I'm glad that Kamran got sent to Pakistan because I didn't really want them to be together. I like her and Bruno. Just because Bruno's such a nice guy, and he's like clearly been in love with this girl like for his entire life. And even though he's going to Caltech, he almost threw away his future for this girl because he's in love with her. And it's just like, bruh, like if she's gonna have one, she doesn't need a love interest, but if she's gonna have one, it should be Bruno. You know, they tried to, you know, throw some red herrings here and there, throw some red daggers here and there with what's his face in Pakistan, and then come around here. But I think the real OTP is Bruno. Yeah, I touched on the cultural impact of like brown people versus police / government. The whole fight was really well done as well, like very visually good. Weirdly, like the CGI in this show looks a lot better than some of the other shows and even some movies. So like I feel like they crafted this one pretty well. I love that, like, after the whole situation resolves itself, like the community is very much behind her, very much like reminiscent of, like, again, Spider-Man, and Kamala Khan is, via her inception in the comics and kind of like how she's portrayed since then, is very much supposed to be like a modern day Spider-Man, if that makes sense. Like the everyday person, everyday kid that is doing the right thing and being a hero. You know, the line where she tells her dad, like, I don't think you raised me to stand by when things are happening, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, you know, Kamala Khan is very much supposed to be a modern day Spider-Man, and now that we have Peter Parker entering into like college in the MCU, like Tom Holland's Peter Parker entering into college, no one knows who he is. He's kind of like leaving that high school space. We have Kamala Khan to kind of like fill that hole that's missing in terms of like a younger, not necessarily more innocent hero, but a younger, just a different voice, if that makes sense. You know, they got to keep those young high school viewers. But no, excellent work. And then the two the two big holy F moments in this episode were, I'll talk about the less impactful one, in my opinion, was the post-credit scene with Brie Larson. Like, I feel like we knew maybe in some small part, maybe Brie Larson would have a small cameo appearance in this show. But the fact that, like, Kamala's standing in her room and gets Nightcrawlered away. It looked very similar to the effect of, like, what happened with, like, Nightcrawler, how he teleports and stuff. That was kind of cool. But I wonder if it's like the same effect of, like, this is what it looked like when she got transported back in time, right? Because we saw it from her perspective when she went back in time. What if that's what it looked like from the outside perspective, and then she just kind of, like, instantly transported back? Who knows? But now Carol Danvers is in Jersey just chilling, and she looked very confused, and she was, like, looking at her hands like there was something wrong with her. Like, it almost, maybe her powers are not there, right? Because she was like, what is, oh no. Like, she was very confused. One, obviously she's confused of why she's in this room with pictures of her everywhere. But two, she just looked like she was confused about what is going on with her hands. So maybe this is just theory time, spitballing here. Maybe Carol Danvers was in deep space somewhere, right? Exploring, saving some people, doing whatever, fighting some Kree, I don't know. And she found a bangle. She finds a bangle, and she touches it. And then when she touches it, it activated the bangle on Kamala, and they, like, switched places somehow. That would be interesting. I don't know. Maybe it would explain why she's looking at her hands. Maybe she's confused. She touches this thing and then gets teleported. And then that could be the part of the plot of the Marvels, because we know that Kamala Khan, Carol Danvers, and Maria Rambeau, or is it Monica Rambeau? Monica is the young one. Yeah, Monica Rambeau. She was in WandaVision. They're, like, the three main characters of the movie The Marvels. But we also know from, like, casting news or something like that Kamala's family is going to play a part in that movie as well. So maybe, she has to, like, interact with them and figure out a way to rescue Kamala from deep space or wherever she is. Because, Carol Danvers doesn't need oxygen to breathe in space, as we've learned from her rescue of Tony Stark in Endgame. But Kamala might. Kamala might have accidentally just suffocated in deep space. Or luckily, hopefully, a planet that, has oxygen on it. But her and Monica Rambeau are going to have to go on some intergalactic adventure to save this child. That would be very interesting. But then, in my opinion, the bigger what the F moment, which some people may not have realized what just went down, but boy, we realized what went down. We've had questions this whole time of, like, is Kamala an Inhuman? Like, is that how they're explaining what went down? Why she's different? How they're explaining that, like, crystalline structure of both her powers and what happened to the clandestines last episode. This is a similar moment to kind of WandaVision with Monica Rambeau, where they're like, there's something different about your DNA. Like, Bruno explains to her, like, one, like, we thought your powers came from, like, your family line, right? Your connection with the Noor, you're right, Aisha's bloodline. But turns out that's wrong, and you're like, because we tested the DNA of your mama and your dad and your brother and your grandma, and everything's chill with them. Like, they didn't develop any powers. so like, what's different about you? And I was like, is he gonna say she's inhuman? Like, is he gonna be like, it's almost like you're inhuman? I was like, ooh. And then he's like, it's like a mutation. And I was like, oh, he said the word. And then you hear the subtle just, oh, the X-Men 97 theme. They did the same thing with in Multiverse of Madness with Charles Xavier when he strolled in his little scooter chair, where he came and you just hear. For those unaware, that is the opening theme song to the 1997 animated X-Men cartoon, which is they're continuing on Disney Plus, I believe, and like, oh baby. That is a signal. That is a strong signal that the mutants are coming. And Kamala Khan, first confirmed mutant in the MCU, right? Because Charles he doesn't count because it's an alternate universe. But first, like in our universe, 616 as they're calling it, first confirmed actual mutant. Oh baby, all those dumb racists that didn't want to watch this show, now having to realize that the introduction to the mutants in the MCU comes from the finale of Miss Marvel. Oh brother, mwah, mwah. Ooh, take that and suck on it, you dumb bootlickers. Oh, that's so crazy. But that also means that they're probably within the context of the MCU, they're probably merging the idea of mutants and Inhumans. And I think historically, I know Inhumans have technically existed since like the 60s in the comics, but if I remember, the prominence of the Inhumans throughout recent history, like them being boosted and more popular, came pretty much directly from like Marvel wanted something to replace the mutants in a sense, so they could like tell film stories, because they didn't have the rights to the mutants because Fox had it, obviously, and Fox had the rights to make TV and movies about mutants for a long time, like 20 years plus, I think. And so Marvel wanted a way to tell new mutant-esque stories on film and TV without having to have the rights to the mutants. And so that's partly why Inhumans have gained a lot more focus within the last however many years. So like, I feel like the original plan was never to have, I mean, there are some cool Inhumans like Black Bolt, and, you know, Kamala Khan obviously in the comics is technically an Inhuman, but I think even from just a logistics standpoint, from like how many storylines do we have room for in the overall, who knows when the MCU will end, but if you're the big boss looking at like, which stories are we going to tell, how do we go about telling, including all these cool stories? There's so many cool stories within the Marvel history to tell. How do we take the time to introduce the concept of Inhumans and the concept of mutants, in a separate way? Because the casual viewer is going to look at Inhumans and they're going to look at mutants and be like, aren't they the same thing? Like they're essentially just the same exact thing, but with a different name and slightly different origins, right? Like Inhumans, they're basically mutants. They got powers and they do mutant-esque things, but they have a slightly different origin story of like, they were made with Terrigen crystals. And, from a logistical, like, movie-making, storytelling standpoint, like, why would you spend the extra amount of time and resources to introduce those things separately when you could just combine them? It just makes more sense. Just makes more sense from an MCU standpoint to combine those two things, and it works well, in my opinion. You know, F the Inhumans. Who cares about the Inhumans? Kevin Feige hates the Inhumans. Ever since the Inhumans show flopped so unbelievably hard. Like, season 1 of the Inhumans, if you don't remember, this was before Marvel, like Kevin Feige Marvel was like, we're gonna put everything on Disney Plus and make it a unified front. This was like when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on, and they decided they were going to try to make an Inhumans show and maybe connect it somehow to the MCU, and then it was so bad. It was such an awful show. The only like saving grace of that show was Anson Mount playing Black Bolt, and that's why he made an appearance, made a cameo in Multiverse of Madness. He was the only good part, and everything else was just like the worst thing you've ever seen. So Kevin Feige, that was like pretty much a driving force behind like shutting down the Marvel TV, section of Marvel, and just kind of folding it into the MCU and making those things non-canon. Kind of. Like, from what I've heard, Daisy Johnson is going to be in Secret Wars, the TV show. So that's super fun, and hopefully they can fold Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into canon and bring Fitz back. Ooh, we need some Fitzsimmons back in the MCU, cause ooh baby, I need some Ian DeCastacker back in the MCU. He's by far the best actor on that show, and other than Daisy, he's my favorite. So I need him back. I need some Coulson back. I need Robot Coulson back. Fold him back in. How funny would that be if they fold Coulson back in and he interacts with Carol Danvers like as a robot? He interacts with her and she's like, how do you look the same? Like, dude, I met you in the 90s. Like, what is going on? That would be so fun. But yeah, that Inhuman show was very much part of the decision to kind of stop making those shows and just, have Kevin Feige be the overall producer of everything, because then he can control everything. But yeah, I've been ragging on the Inhumans for a bit, but overall I think it's a quality decision to make Kamala a mutant, and it was very exciting to hear that little theme song play. But overall, this season finale of this show was great. I thought the show as a whole was fantastic. There were elements that definitely weren't good, but like the good elements of this show were so good that they far and above made up for the bad elements of this show. The family elements and the cultural dynamics and the coming of age dynamics of this story far and away made up for the absolutely abysmal storyline of the clandestines. Aisha and her inclusion and the stuff about the partition last episode, that was great. We needed way more of that, if we're being honest. That should have been its own episode entirely. That was fantastic, but everything with the clandestines felt so flippin' rushed. It's insane. Overall, I think I'd give this series like a 9.5 out of 10. If they somehow found a way to get rid of all the clandestine stuff and still make the storyline work as a whole, it would be like an easy 10 out of 10. The show is fantastic. The family and cultural dynamics and all that they were like an 11 out of 10, and then you fold in the clandestines, which is like a 2 out of 10. and the show's still great. I loved it a lot. I had a really fun time watching it. Like, even when you're ragging on the moments with the clandestines, like, this show, you can overall still be like, this is still a great show. Like, this is fantastic. And it's especially great when you realize that, like, I'm not necessarily the target audience for this show, right? I am a 27-year-old white man in Minnesota. I think the target audience of this show is very much younger, minority viewers, if we're being honest. High school aged, middle school aged, maybe early college, like minority viewers is probably what they were targeting this show at. And I think that speaks in the viewership numbers that they released however long ago, where they were like, oh, the overall viewership of this show isn't as high, but in those specific demographics it's way higher than the others. So I think that's great. The more that we can get different cultural elements both within the show and viewership of the shows and movies and making of the shows and movies, I think that's can only be a good thing. You know, the last thing we want the MCU to be is just a straight white dude party. You know, we don't need this to be some sausage fest of just the same pink paste, right? Like, add a little diversity into all directions of the MCU, and I think it's going to be a fulfilling experience. But again, I think that just speaks to the testament of how good the show is, that even people who aren't the target audience are able to look at this and enjoy it, both for what it is, but then enjoy it in general for what it means for the rest of the MCU. You know, everyone loves a good connection to the rest of the MCU, and the fact that they used this show to have such substantial connections to the MCU, ooh, baby, a triple. Loved it. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan, fantastic. All her friends were great. Bruno's great. Nakia's great. Her family, excellent. Kamran was okay. The clandestines were god-awful. They were so bad. I don't know if it was their acting or the writing or the editing of everything they were involved in, but they were hot garbage. Aisha, great. You know, again, I've said it various times, but the family and cultural elements of this show, top tier. Yeah, I don't know. I freaking loved it. They stuck the landing hard. They crushed this episode. And overall, I think this might be from an enjoyment standpoint, this might be one of the better MCU shows, if we're being honest. So yeah, I had a great time. Definitely let me know what you guys thought of this episode and the series down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a ton to me, helps my channel out a lot. If you're new here or find yourself coming back often, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when I upload, especially if you want to see me react to more Marvel related content, including Thor Love and Thunder when that comes out on Disney+. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, or you just want to support me directly, consider checking out my Patreon. That is linked in the description below. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.